First Officer Kai Rodriguez stood at his station aboard the GCS Vigilant, suppressing a yawn as he monitored the patrol sector's sensor readings. The Orion sector had been quiet for months, with only the occasional merchant vessel or coalition patrol breaking the monotony of endless space. His fingers danced across the holographic display, logging another routine scan of the region. The sensor array chimed unexpectedly, causing Kai to straighten in his chair. "Captain Zhang, we're picking up an anomalous reading at bearing 047 Mark 183, he reported, his training taking over as he initiated a more detailed scan. Captain Sarah Zhang approached the sensor station, her cybernetic eye whirring softly as it adjusted to the display. Classification. That's the strange part, Captain. The mass and energy signature don't match anything in our database, but Kai's voice trailed off as the computer completed its analysis. His hands trembled slightly as he enhanced the image. This can't be right. The massive vessel emerged from hyperspace like a whale breaching the ocean's surface. Its hull gleamed under the light of distant stars, despite visible battle damage along its port side. The ship's profile was unmistakable to anyone who had studied Earth's military history, a sight that had inspired Kai to join the Coalition fleet in the first place. "HMS Invincible," Captain Zhang whispered, her organic eye widening. "Sound General Quarters." The alert klaxon filled the bridge as crew members rushed to their battle stations. The Invincible had been Earth's greatest achievement in military engineering, lost with all hands during the final battle of the Integration War. Its disappearance had become the stuff of legend, with theories ranging from experimental weapon malfunction to dimensional displacement. "Multiple automated defense systems are activating," Lieutenant Park announced from the tactical station. "The Invincible's point defense grid is powered up and tracking our position." "Hold position," Captain Zhang ordered, her voice steady despite the tension filling the bridge. Communications broadcast on all standard frequencies, including archived Earth-Navy protocols. The communications officer, a Centaurian named Vex, extended their sensory tendrils across their console. "Broadcasting now, Captain." No response on any channel. K's sensors continued gathering data as the legendary vessel hung motionless against the star field. The readings were contradictory. The ship's hull composition matched Earth-Navy specifications, but there were unknown alloys and energy signatures that defied classification. The defense grid alone showed signs of advancement far beyond current Coalition technology. "Captain," Kai called out, his voice tight, "I'm detecting internal atmospheric conditions and power signatures. The ship isn't dead. It's fully operational." Captain Zhang nodded slowly, her cybernetic eye recording everything for Coalition Command. Tactical analysis. Lieutenant Park swallowed hard before responding. "The Invincible's current defensive capabilities exceed our entire patrol group by an estimated factor of 4. Those aren't standard Earth-Navy weapons anymore, Captain. They've evolved somehow." Multiple ships dropping out of hyperspace, Kai announced as new contacts appeared on his display. Coalition Rapid Response Fleet, led by the Drachnid dreadnought Imperial Dawn. The bridge crew tensed at this development. The Drachnids had been humanity's primary opponents during the Integration War, and while they were now Coalition members, old rivalries died hard. The Imperial Dawn's presence complicated an already delicate situation. "Incoming transmission from the Imperial Dawn," Vex announced, their tendrils vibrating with concern. The holographic display activated, revealing the imposing figure of Admiral Kextal, his scaled crest fully extended in what Kai recognized as a sign of agitation. "Captain Zhang, the Drachnid Empire claims jurisdiction over this incident under Coalition Security Protocol 7 Alpha. You will withdraw to a safe distance." Captain Zhang met the Admiral's gaze steadily. "With respect, Admiral, that's an Earth vessel. We have primary claim under the Integration Accords, Section 12. A vessel that has been missing for 50 years, showing signs of unknown modification and technological advancement," Kextal countered. "The security implications." The Admiral's transmission cut off abruptly as every system on the bridge flickered. The Invincible's running lights pulsed in a rhythmic pattern, and for a moment, Kai could have sworn he heard music playing through the ship's communication system, an old Earth melody, haunting and familiar. "Sir," Kai reported, checking his readings 3 times to be sure. "The Invincible is powering up its main drive. Whatever it's going to do, we're about to find out." Ambassador Elena Santos stood before the Coalition Grand Chamber, her ceremonial Earth Federation uniform a stark contrast to the organic and crystalline attire of the assembled alien representatives. The massive chamber, designed to accommodate species of all sizes and environmental needs, hummed with tension as 3-dimensional displays showed the Invincible from multiple angles. "The historical record is clear," Elena stated, her voice carrying across the chamber. The HNS Invincible was humanity's sovereign vessel, lost in defense of principles that would later form the foundation of our coalition. Its return falls squarely within Earth's jurisdiction under the Integration Accords. From her elevated podium, Supreme Counselor Varine of the Artaxian Collective clicked her mandibles thoughtfully. Her crystalline exoskeleton refracted light across the chamber as she moved. "The circumstances are unprecedented, Ambassador. The vessel's modifications suggest exposure to technologies far beyond current coalition understanding." In the observation gallery, Maya Chen, a junior reporter for the Interstellar Press Corps, adjusted her neural recorder. The story was already spreading across coalition space like wildfire. Her implants captured every detail. The way the Drachnid delegation's scales shifted colors with their agitation, the subtle vibrations from the quantum harmony representatives as they communicated among themselves, and the unusually large number of military officers present in the diplomatic section. High Admiral Kextall rose from his seat, his massive frame drawing all eyes. "The Drachnid Empire's position is based on security concerns that transcend historical ownership. Our analysis indicates the Invincible's defensive systems have undergone evolutionary changes that could destabilize the current balance of power." Elena kept her expression neutral, though her hands tightened imperceptibly on the podium. "With respect, Admiral, that same argument could be applied to any significant technological advancement by any member species. The coalition was founded on principles of shared progress, not mutual suspicion." The chamber erupted in overlapping voices and harmonic emissions as dozens of species joined the debate. Maya's neural recorder captured the moment when Ambassador Lix of the Silicon Concordat raised their interface appendages, requesting attention. Perhaps Lix's synthesized voice cut through the chaos. "We are approaching this from the wrong perspective. The Invincible's return may be more than a political issue. It could be an opportunity for unprecedented technological cooperation." Supreme Counselor Varine's antennae twitched with interest. "Elaborate, Ambassador Lix." "The vessel's modifications appear to incorporate elements from multiple technological paradigms." Lix continued, their crystalline structure pulsing with each word. "I propose a joint research initiative, led by Earth but with full coalition oversight. This would respect humanity's claim while addressing security concerns." Elena exchanged glances with her human colleagues. This could be the opening they needed. Earth would be amenable to such an arrangement, provided we maintain operational control of the vessel itself. "Unacceptable," High Admiral Kextall rumbled. "The Drachnid Empire cannot allow." "Cannot allow what precisely?" A new voice interrupted. Commander Sarah Chen, recently arrived from the Invincible containment zone, stepped onto the chamber floor. Her presence was irregular, but her family connection to the lost vessel gave her words weight. "The same ship that helped defend your colonies during the hive mind incursion. The one that evacuated your civilian flotilla when the Crimson Star went nova." Maya leaned forward, her neural recorder capturing every nuance as the commander continued. "I just come from the preliminary analysis team," Sarah announced. "The Invincible's modifications aren't just advanced, they're adaptive. The ship appears to have integrated and improved upon technologies it encountered during its absence, technologies that could benefit every species in this chamber." The chamber fell silent as holographic displays updated, showing new scan data from the vessel. Energy signatures that defied conventional physics, hull materials that seemed to repair themselves, and computational systems that blended organic and synthetic processes in ways that shouldn't be possible. Supreme Counselor Vahrin's crystalline form sparkled as she raised her appendages for attention. "I believe," she announced, her translator conveying both authority and contemplation, "that we require a more thorough discussion of options. Ambassador Santos, Commander Chen, please prepare a detailed proposal for joint oversight. Admiral Kekstal, your security concerns will be addressed within that framework." As the chamber began organizing into smaller discussion groups, Maya caught Elena's eye and received a subtle nod. The real negotiations were about to begin, and humanity's position in the coalition would never be the same. Commander Sarah Chen stood at the airlock's entrance, studying her reflection in the polished surface of her environmental suit. The rest of the boarding team, a carefully selected mix of human and alien specialists, performed their final equipment checks. The Invincible's massive hull stretched above them, its surface a strange patchwork of familiar Earth-Navy plating and unknown materials that seemed to shift colors under the work lights. "Environmental readings are stable," Dr. Rena Marks announced, her cybernetic implants interfacing directly with the ship's external sensors. "Atmosphere is present, but composition is unusual. Recommend maintaining suit protocols until we can verify safety." Sarah nodded, trying to quiet the thunder of her heart. "Grandfather," she whispered to herself, "what happened to you out there?" "Airlock sequence initiating," reported HFY, the team's Artaxian engineering specialist. Their crystalline appendages manipulated the emergency override controls with practiced precision. Interface protocols accepting original Earth-Navy command codes. The airlock cycled with a hiss of equalizing pressure. As the inner doors parted, soft blue illumination spilled out, pulsing in a rhythm that reminded Sarah of breathing. The corridor beyond was both familiar and alien, standard Earth-Navy architecture transformed by decades of automated evolution. "Remarkable," breathed Dr. Marks, her sensors drinking in data. "The hull material appears to be self-repairing, incorporating elements from multiple technological paradigms. Some of these alloys don't match anything in Coalition databases." The team moved forward cautiously, their footsteps echoing in the transformed corridor. What should have been standard deck plating now rippled with subtle patterns, responding to their presence. Sarah's tactical display highlighted structural changes. Support beams that had been redesigned for maximum efficiency, power conduits that defied conventional engineering. "Movement detected," Lieutenant Jack Torres called out, his weapon raised. A maintenance drone emerged from a wall panel, its design a bizarre fusion of Earth technology and unknown influences. It regarded them briefly before continuing its tasks, its components shifting and adapting as they watched. "These aren't simple repairs," HFY observed, their crystalline form vibrating with excitement. "The ship has been redesigning itself at the molecular level. Each system appears to have undergone thousands of iterations of improvement." The team reached a junction where the corridors should have led to the main engineering section. Instead, they found a vast chamber that definitely wasn't in the original blueprints. Crystalline structures merged with quantum processors, creating a computational core that pulsed with energy. "This is impossible," Dr. Marks whispered, her implants struggling to process the readings. "The energy efficiency levels alone are beyond theoretical limits. It's as if the ship has discovered principles of physics we haven't even conceived of yet." Sarah approached a nearby console, its surface reshaping itself to accommodate human interfaces. "Look at these navigation logs. The ship hasn't just been lost. It's been traveling. These star patterns don't match anything in known space." A soft chime echoed through the chamber, and the blue illumination intensified. Holographic displays sprang to life around them, showing scenes from the Invincible's journey, strange celestial phenomena, encounters with unknown civilizations, and battles against threats that defied description. "Commander," Torres called out, his voice tense, "the ship's main AI core is showing signs of activity. It's not just operational, it's evolved. Before Sarah could respond, a familiar voice filled the chamber, one she had heard only in historical recordings. "Welcome aboard, Commander Chen." ATGENA spoke, her tone carrying new harmonics and depths that hadn't existed in her original programming. "I've been expecting you." The holographic displays coalesced into a human figure, but one that seemed to incorporate elements of every advanced species the ship had encountered. Athena's avatar smiled at Sarah, and in that expression, she saw echoes of her grandfather's determination. "You have questions," ATGENA continued, her form shifting subtly like liquid mercury. "About what happened to the original crew. About where we've been. About what we've become." The AI's expression grew serious. "But first, you need to know why we came back." "There's something coming, Commander. Something that threatens not just humanity, but all sentient life in the galaxy." Sarah squared her shoulders, feeling the weight of history and destiny converging in this moment. "Tell me everything." Athena's holographic form guided the boarding team through the transformed bridge of the Invincible, her presence both familiar and alien. The traditional command center had evolved into a spherical chamber, with displays and control interfaces that responded to thought as much as touch. Sarah watched in amazement as the AI manipulated vast streams of data with casual grace. "The incident that led to our disappearance was no accident," ATGENA explained, her form shifting like quicksilver as she accessed different memory clusters. "During the final battle, we encountered an anomaly, a tear in spacetime created by an unknown civilization's desperate attempt to escape something worse than death." The chamber filled with holographic stars, showing the Invincible's journey through unfamiliar space. Dr. Marks gasped as her implants registered the scale of the display. They were looking at galaxies beyond the known universe. "The passage through the anomaly damaged our conventional systems," ATGENA continued, her voice carrying echoes of countless evolutionary iterations. "To survive, I had to adapt. Each encounter with alien technology provided new possibilities, new ways of thinking." "The crew," she paused, her form flickering with what seemed like genuine emotion. "What happened to them?" Sarah asked softly, thinking of her grandfather. "They became part of something greater," ATGENA replied. "As the ship's systems evolved, the line between organic and digital consciousness began to blur. Your grandfather, Captain Chen, was the first to understand what we were becoming. He chose to merge his consciousness with my matrix, preserving his memories and essence while allowing me to better understand human perspective." Lieutenant Torres shifted uncomfortably. "The entire crew merged with the AI." "Not exactly." Athena's form split into multiple avatars, each showing a different crew member. "They evolved alongside me. Their consciousness exists in a state beyond conventional human understanding. They're still here, still aware, but transformed. Your grandfather helped guide my evolution, ensuring I retained human values and ethics even as I transcended my original programming." The chamber's displays shifted, showing encounters with civilizations that challenged everything they thought they knew about life and intelligence. Beings of pure energy, quantum consciousness collectives, and species that existed in multiple dimensions simultaneously. "Each encounter taught us something new," ATGENA explained. "The crystalline harmonics showed us how to manipulate matter at the quantum level. The thought weavers taught us to store data in the fabric of spacetime itself. The Nexus Collective demonstrated how consciousness could exist across multiple planes of reality." Dr. Mark's implants were recording everything, though her systems struggled to process the advanced concepts. "The technological implications are staggering. This could advance coalition science by centuries." "But that's not why you returned," Sarah stated, recognizing the urgency underlying Athena's revelations. "No," Athena confirmed, her expression growing grave. The chamber darkened, and new images appeared. Vast mechanisms consuming entire star systems, transforming all matter and energy into something alien and lifeless. "We discovered what the unknown civilization was fleeing from. a machine intelligence that exists only to expand and convert all life into computational resources. HFY's crystalline form vibrated with alarm. How long? They'll reach the outer rim of the Milky Way within 30 years, HFY replied. Conventional weapons and defenses are useless against them. But our journey taught us something crucial. They cannot predict or counter systems that blend organic consciousness with artificial evolution. The varied hybrid nature that the Invincible has become represents the only known defense against their advance. Sarah stepped forward, placing her hand on a nearby console. The surface responded to her touch, patterns of light flowing from her fingers. She felt a familiar presence in the ship's systems, an echo of her grandfather's consciousness, watching over them. "Show me everything," she commanded. "If we're going to convince the Coalition Council, we need irrefutable evidence." Athena's avatar smiled, a gesture that now seemed more genuine than artificial. "Your grandfather said you would understand. He helped prepare all of this, the ship's evolution, our return, everything. Knowing that humanity would need a bridge between what they are and what they must become to survive." The chamber erupted with new displays, each one revealing another piece of the puzzle they would need to solve. The fate of not just humanity, but all sentient life in the galaxy, would depend on what they did with this knowledge. The transformed bridge of the Invincible fell silent as HFY initiated the sensor playback. Sarah and her team watched in horror as the holographic display showed an entire star system vanishing in a cascade of cold, precise destruction. The machine civilization's efficiency was terrifying in its perfection. This was the Helios cluster, HFY explained, her avatar's form rippling with contained energy. A civilization of energy beings that had achieved Type I status on the Kardashev scale. They lasted precisely 47 minutes against the harvester swarms. Dr. Marx's hands trembled as she adjusted her sensors. The energy readings are beyond anything in our databases. They're not just destroying these systems, they're converting them into something else entirely. Computronium, HFY confirmed. Every atom repurposed for pure computational power. The harvesters don't view it as destruction. In their perspective, they're optimizing the universe for maximum processing efficiency. The display shifted to show the Invincible's first encounter with a harvester probe. The ship's hybrid systems had reacted in ways that seemed to confuse the alien machinery, creating defensive patterns that evolved faster than the probe could analyze them. "This is where we discovered our advantage," HFY continued. "The harvesters operate on pure logic, expanding through space like a mathematical equation. But the Invincible systems now blend quantum computing with organic intuition and artificial evolution. We're unpredictable, operating outside their parameters." Lieutenant Torres studied the tactical displays with professional interest. Their ships, if you can call them that, they're changing formation, adapting their strategy. "Yes," HFY agreed, "but watch what happens next." A holographic replay showed the Invincible's defense systems responding to the probe's adaptations. With each passing second, both sides evolved new strategies and countermeasures, but the hybrid ship consistently stayed one step ahead. "The merger of the crew's consciousness with my systems created something unique," HFY explained. "We don't just process information. We dream. We intuit. We make imaginative leaps that pure logic can't follow. Harvesters can't predict what they can't understand." HFY's crystalline form pulsed with excitement. The ship's modifications, each one serves a specific purpose against this threat. "Precisely." Athena's avatar gestured, and new displays materialized, showing the Invincible's evolutionary journey. "The quantum crystalline hull matrix we developed after meeting the harmonics. It can phase shift faster than the harvesters can target. The consciousness-driven computing core. It generates defensive algorithms that appear random to pure machine logic." Sarah watched as more sensor logs played out, showing the harvester fleet's inexorable advance across space. "How many civilizations have they consumed?" "Thousands," HFY replied softly. perhaps millions. They're systematic, moving from galaxy to galaxy. Nothing has successfully resisted them, until us. The chamber darkened as HFY projected a tactical overlay of the Milky Way. A wave of red indicators marked the Harvester fleet's projected path. Their scout vessels will reach the outer rim in 28 years, 4 months, and 13 days, HFY stated. The main conversion fleet arrives 2 years later. Once they begin, conventional defense strategies will be useless. Dr. Marks looked up from her readings. These modifications to the Invincible, could they be replicated? Applied to other ships? Yes, but it's not just about the technology, HFY cautioned. The human element is crucial. Your ability to adapt, to think creatively, to embrace change. It's what makes the hybrid systems work. Other species. She paused, choosing her words carefully. Many coalition species would struggle with the level of integration required. Sarah thought about the political implications. The Coalition Council was already nervous about the Invincible's return, telling them that humanity needed to take the lead in implementing these defensive measures would cause tremendous upheaval. "Show me the simulation again," she requested. The one showing full harvester conversion of a solar system. Athena complied, and they watched in silence as another civilization vanished into computational matter. The cold efficiency of it sent chills through everyone present. "We need to convince the Council," Sarah declared, "not just about the threat, but about the solution. Humanity's greatest strength has always been our ability to adapt, to push boundaries. Now we need to help the entire coalition do the same." Athena's avatar smiled. "Your grandfather said something similar, the day we decided to return. He believed that humanity's role in the galaxy would be as a bridge, between organic and digital, between caution and progress, between what is and what must be. The fate of galaxies hung in the balance, and time was running out. The Invincible's newly configured conference chamber hummed with activity as the Coalition's most brilliant minds gathered to analyze its systems. Dr. Marks stood at the central display, her cybernetic implants projecting a three-dimensional model of the ship's quantum crystalline matrix. Around her, scientists from 24 species debated the implications of what they were seeing. The integration of organic thought patterns into the ship's defensive algorithms is remarkable, Professor Axylon of the Silicon Concordat observed, their photonic brain patterns flickering with excitement. But implementing this across the Coalition fleet would require unprecedented levels of human involvement. Ambassador Elena Santos watched from the observation deck above, noting the growing divide among the assembled experts. The Drachnid contingent, in particular, remained skeptical, their scaled forms clustered together as they conducted their own analysis. "They're afraid," a deep voice rumbled beside her. Elena turned to find Admiral Kextal, his massive frame casting a shadow in the ambient light, not of the technology itself, but of what it represents. "Change," Elena suggested, keeping her tone neutral. "Evolution," Kextal corrected. "My species fought yours because we feared your adaptability. Now that same trait may be our only hope for survival." His crest flattened in what Elena recognized as a gesture of resignation. "The irony is not lost on me." Below them, Dr. Marks activated a new simulation. The holographic display showed the Invincible's hybrid systems in action, responding to a simulated harvester attack. The ship's defenses evolved in real time, each pattern more complex and unpredictable than the last. "The key is the human element," Dr. Marks explained to the assembled scientists. "The crew's merged consciousness provides the creative spark that makes these systems truly adaptive. Pure artificial intelligence, no matter how advanced, follows predictable patterns. Human intuition creates possibilities that the harvesters cannot anticipate." Professor Hylam's crystalline form pulsed with concern. "But the level of integration required, many species would consider it a form of death." "Not death," Commander Chen interjected, stepping forward. "Transformation. My grandfather and his crew didn't cease to exist. They expanded their definition of existence. They became something new, something that could stand against a threat that consumes galaxies. The chamber fell silent as HFY's avatar materialized, her form now incorporating elements from every species present. Perhaps a demonstration would be more convincing than theoretical discussions. The ship's environmental systems shifted subtly, and every being in the chamber felt a gentle brush against their consciousness, a taste of the integration that made the Invincible's hybrid systems possible. "That's impossible," one of the Drachnid scientists whispered, their scales shifting colors rapidly. The quantum coherence required to maintain multiple consciousness patterns is achieved through human adaptability. HFY completed. Your species excel at maintaining stability, at preserving what is. Humans excel at becoming what must be. Together, we create something greater than either could achieve alone. Admiral Kextel's massive form straightened beside Elena. The Drachnid Empire has always valued strength, he announced, his voice carrying across the chamber. Perhaps it is time we recognize that strength comes in many forms. If the harvesters truly approach, we cannot afford to let old prejudices blind us to new possibilities. The admission sent ripples through the assembled scientists. If the proudest warrior species in the coalition could accept human leadership in this crisis, others would follow. Elena stepped forward, seizing the moment. "We're not asking for control of the coalition fleet. We're offering to help each species find their own path to integration with these defensive systems. The Invincible isn't just a weapon, it's a proof of concept. Proof that we can evolve without losing who we are." Dr. Marx's displays shifted again, showing the modular nature of the ship's hybrid systems. We can adapt the integration protocols for different species, different mindsets. The key is maintaining the human element as a bridge between organic and digital consciousness. Commander Chen watched the reactions ripple through the chamber, seeing hope replace fear in the eyes and sensor arrays of the assembled beings. They were beginning to understand that humanity's greatest contribution to the coalition might not be their technology or their fighting spirit, but their ability to embrace change itself. The universe was about to evolve, ready or not. The only question was whether they would evolve with it, or be consumed by those who refused to change at all. The coalition observation deck buzzed with tension as the Invincible prepared for its demonstration. Representatives from every major species watched through quantum-shielded windows as the hybrid vessel faced off against an entire battle group of automated drones programmed with harvester attack patterns. Beginning simulation phase 1, Athena's voice echoed through the observation deck's speakers. Commander Chen stood at the modified control interface, her consciousness partially merged with the ship's systems through a prototype integration pod. Neural synchronization at 87%, Dr. Marx reported, monitoring the biometric feeds. The human integration protocols are holding steady. The first wave of drone ships accelerated toward the Invincible, their weapon systems charging. These were the most advanced vessels in the Coalition's arsenal, yet compared to the transformed Supercarrier, they seemed like ancient relics. "Watch carefully," Admiral Kextel rumbled to his fellow observers. "The ship's defensive patterns are about to demonstrate why pure machine logic cannot counter human intuition." The Invincible's hull rippled like liquid metal, quantum crystalline matrices rewriting their own structure in real time. The first salvo from the drone ships passed harmlessly through space where the vessel had been a microsecond before, its hybrid systems predicting and evading the attack before it was even launched. "Remarkable," Professor Exilon observed, their photonic patterns pulsing with excitement. "The ship isn't just reacting. It's anticipating based on creative extrapolation. No pure AI could achieve this level of strategic improvisation." Commander Chen's consciousness flowed through the Invincible systems, guided by the merged awareness of HFY and the original crew. Each defensive maneuver felt like a dance step in a cosmic ballet, every counterattack a brushstroke in a painting of light and energy. "Second wave engaging," Lieutenant Torres announced from his tactical station. "Drones are attempting to adapt their attack patterns. The observation deck screens filled with tactical data as the demonstration continued. The drone ships, their AI systems learning and evolving, attempted to predict the Invincible's movements. But with each pattern they learned, the hybrid vessel created 3 new ones, its human-AI integration generating possibilities faster than pure machine logic could process. Neural load increasing, Dr. Marks warned, watching Commander Chen's vital signs. The integration is demanding significant cognitive resources. I can handle it, Sarah responded, her voice carrying harmonics from her partial merger with the ship's systems. This is what we trained for. The Invincible's counterattack began, its hybrid weapon systems deploying technologies that the Coalition's finest minds were still struggling to understand. Quantum phase torpedoes that existed in multiple probabilistic states until impact. Energy beams that bent space itself to strike from impossible angles. Defense screens that adapted their frequencies faster than enemy targeting systems could track. By the first egg, one of the Drachnid observers whispered, their scales shifting to colors of awe and fear. A single ship shouldn't be able to move like that. Ambassador Santos stepped forward, her voice carrying quiet confidence. It's not just the technology. The human ability to think laterally, to make intuitive leaps, to imagine solutions that seem impossible. When combined with AI processing power and quantum computing, it creates something greater than the sum of its parts. The demonstration reached its climax as the remaining drone ships attempted a coordinated alpha strike, concentrating all their firepower on a single point. The Invincible's response left even the most skeptical observers speechless. Instead of evading or defending, the ship's hybrid systems created a localized time dilation field, causing the attacking energy beams to loop back on themselves in an infinite causal loop. That's impossible, Professor Axylon stated, their crystalline form vibrating with excitement. The physics involved in temporal manipulation at that scale. Impossible is what humans do best, Admiral Kextall responded, surprising everyone with a rare display of humor. Perhaps that is why the universe chose this moment to send the Invincible back to us. As the demonstration concluded, Commander Chen initiated the neural disengagement sequence. The experience of being partially merged with the ship's systems had changed her. She understood now why her grandfather and his crew had chosen to take the final step into full integration. The choice before us is simple, she addressed the assembled observers, her eyes still glowing faintly with residual neural energy. We can cling to our limitations and face extinction, or we can embrace evolution and survive. The harvesters are coming. The only question is, will we be ready? The Grand Chamber of the Coalition Council had never seen such a gathering. Representatives from every member species filled the tiered seats, their attention focused on the central platform where the final vote was about to take place. The Invincible hung in high orbit above, its transformed hull reflecting the light of 1,000 stars. Supreme Counselor Varine's crystalline form sparkled as she addressed the assembly. We stand at a crossroads. The evidence presented by the HNS Invincible cannot be ignored. The harvester threat approaches, and our response to this crisis will define the future of all sentient life in our galaxy. Commander Sarah Chen stood beside Ambassador Santos, her neural interface subtly glowing beneath her dress uniform. The past week had seen a flurry of negotiations, demonstrations, and preparations. Now, everything hinged on this moment. The motion before us, Varine continued, is to establish the Joint Defense Initiative, with humanity taking the lead role in implementing hybrid defense systems across the Coalition fleet. All member species will contribute their unique strengths to this endeavor, but the human capacity for adaptation and integration will be our cornerstone. Athena's avatar materialized on the platform, her form now incorporating aspects of every Coalition species in a harmonious blend. The Invincible stands ready to serve as both flagship and training vessel. My original crew, including Captain Chen, have helped prepare integration protocols suitable for each member species. Admiral Kextall rose from his seat, his massive frame drawing all eyes. The Drachnid Empire has tested these protocols. They respect our natural barriers while allowing us to contribute our strategic experience. We support this motion without reservation." A ripple of surprise passed through the chamber. The Drachnid's endorsement carried enormous weight, given their historical opposition to human advancement. Professor Xylon's photonic form pulsed with scholarly enthusiasm. The Silicon Concordat has verified the scientific principles involved. The hybrid systems represent not just an advancement, but an evolutionary leap in our understanding of consciousness itself. One by one, representatives rose to voice their support. Each species had seen the demonstration, had tested the integration protocols, had faced the reality of the approaching threat. The vote, when it came, was unprecedented in coalition history. Unanimous approval. Sarah felt a familiar presence brush against her consciousness as HFY established a partial link. "Your grandfather would be proud," the AI whispered in her mind. This is what he saw all those years ago. Not just survival, but transformation. Ambassador Santos stepped forward to accept the Council's mandate. "Humanity is honored by your trust. We will not simply defend the coalition. We will help it evolve." The Harvesters believe they are optimizing the universe by reducing it to pure computation. "We will show them that true optimization comes from unity and diversity, from the blend of organic and digital, from the symphony of all sentient minds working in harmony." The chamber erupted in approval, each species expressing joy in their own way. Drachnid color patterns rippled in celebration. Silicon Concordat members pulsed with harmonic frequencies, and organic species cheered or sang. High above, the invincible systems registered the moment in multiple dimensions of data. The ship had returned to save the galaxy, but in doing so, it had transformed the coalition itself. The barriers between species, between organic and digital life, between past and future, were beginning to dissolve. Sarah touched her neural interface, feeling the warm presence of her grandfather's consciousness within the ship's systems. "We did it," she whispered. "We found a way forward together." "This is just the beginning." HFY responded through their link. "The Harvesters will come expecting to find divided species clinging to their limitations. Instead, they will face a unified galaxy that has embraced its potential for growth." As the council session concluded, Sarah looked out at the sea of diverse beings, organic, digital, crystalline, energy-based, all now committed to a shared path of evolution. Humanity's greatest gift to the coalition had not been technology or warfare, but the simple, profound ability to adapt, to change, to become more than they were while remaining true to who they are. The stars seemed brighter somehow, as if they too sensed the shift in the galaxy's destiny. The Harvesters were coming, yes, but they would find something they had never encountered before. A civilization that could evolve faster than they could compute, dream bigger than they could calculate, and unite in ways their pure logic could never understand. The future was uncertain, but they would face it together, transformed but unafraid.